Next, I would like to invite our Associate Vice Chancellor of Alumni Affairs, COO of the UCLA Foundation and UCLA Investment Company, fearless leader and mentor, Julie Sina, to officially welcome and kick off the conference.
Good morning, Bruins. I don't know about you, but one thing I don't think will ever get old for me is sharing a room with fabulous women in person, right? We are so thrilled to welcome everybody back in person and on the Zumba. I prefer to call it the Zumba because then I feel like I'm exercising. So you're welcome to share that. But one of the ways I start my day every day is to do a meditation. And I do it while I'm driving. I keep my eyes open, I promise you that. But today's a mantra that I thought was so incredibly appropriate for today. And I want to share it with you. The mantra is, my potential is limitless. I choose where to focus my energy. So say it with me, women and men. My potential is limitless. I choose where to focus my energy. So I want to share that with you today because one of the things I want you to do is just to take a minute to think about what brought you into this room today. It's Sunday. You made a choice. You said, yes, I'm going to be in this room today and on this Zumba today with these absolutely amazing people. So I want you to think about that. Why are you here? Why did you choose to put your energy here today? And then I want you just to take a minute, and I'm going to challenge you to introduce yourself to, there's been such great chatter in the room. We always hate to stop for that, but here we are. And to maybe introduce yourself to someone you have not met yet this morning and share, here's why I am in this room today. Here is why I'm in this room today. So talk amongst yourselves. All righty, I'm going to do the cruel thing and ask you to stop talking for a minute. So, thank you. I just want to do a quick check-in, though. Anybody willing to share why they're in the room today? You make eye contact with me, you speak. So I'll be to you next.
Hi, I'm Sade, and I'm mostly in the room today because I've known Cheryl since I was about 5 or 6, and I've been a goddess in her eyes since then. And I also came with my campaign manager because I'm running for office, and Christine Simmons is one of her role models. And so we came together to be a part of this.
Sade, how can we vote for you?
Assembly District 57 in March of next year, and you can really help vote for me by fundraising, donating to my fundraising link, so I'll send that over because not all of you live there, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Happy to support. All right, Kara, why are you here today?
Yeah, thank you, Julie. I'm here today because it's been many, many years since I've had an opportunity to be back on campus, and now that I live in Orange County, I thought, this is a sign. I should go back up there and sit with a bunch of amazing women and alumni of this great university.
Yes. Thank you, Kara. And signs come to us in amazing ways, right? All righty. So, Lisa.
Hello. I'm Lisa. I'm just here to grow and learn and be around some other women doing amazing things. And I am on campus a lot more than I ever anticipated I would be because my youngest, my baby, is the 3rd year here. So it's like, woohoo!
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, we'll do one more. Dr. Glenna, why are you here today? Other than bringing your fabulosity. Oh, do you want to volunteer somebody else?
No. Thank you. Oh, sure, I don't mind standing up. Yes. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I am here today because I'm a giver. I'm a healer, and I need to be filled up so that I can give. Thank you. And to see this lovely lady. I said to Kelvin, I hope Julie will be there.
Thank you, Glenna. Thank you so much. Well, I'll tell you one of the many reasons I'm in this room today, in addition to, I'm going to use your word, Cheryl, being in a room full of goddesses for the day, is anytime I have the opportunity to be in a room with Christine Simmons, I say yes. And I know you've had an opportunity, if you have not already, to read her bio, so I'm just going to introduce her more from a personal perspective. In that I met Christine, I know because of how old her son is, who's so fabulous, 11 years ago, actually, in this room, because I believe Christian was 1. And Christine at the time was a member of our board of directors, which she went on to be president of, and also was a regent. So is a goddess on many, many levels. But Christine is one of those folks that definitely says yes to things that she's really passionate about. The other thing I absolutely love and admire about Christine is your fearlessness. And that's one of the things that she's going to talk about today is if you follow her, which if you don't, I encourage you to because it brings energy to every single day. She's absolutely unapologetic about that. And thank you. And I know myself as a woman in leadership roles, to have that encouraged and amplified and reminding me that my voice matters and is to be unapologetic about that. Christine does that for me every single day. And so with that, Christine, I'll bring you up to the podium.
I didn't plan to cry already. I mean, geez, I did my makeup, Julie. Thank you. Good morning. Oh my gosh, it is so exciting to be here. Christian, I'm going to get it over with. I know he's very shy, y'all. And he was like, "You're not going to say anything, are you? You're not going to." But Christian epitomizes why it's important to expose our young men early on. So I dragged him with me to our UCLA board meetings. He stood behind this podium one time when he was probably about 6 and said, "I am president of the UCLA Alumni Association," right? So he was walking around Staples Center like he owned the place when I was president and COO there because he had his credential, right? And what we're talking about is a sense of knowing we belong, right? And we're going to talk a bit about that for us as women, but for him as a young black boy in this world, it's important for him to know he can be president of just about any damn thing. I love you. Thank you. His why he's in the room is because he was forced to. That was... It was. But that's my road dog. Good morning, ladies, and the brilliant and most intelligent men in the room tonight. I mean, to this morning, it's really good that you guys are here. You know, it's funny when Julie looks at my content and anyone who follows me, that's a reminder to me, y'all. I am scared every single day, right? Every time when I created my Instagram handle, unapologetically Christine, it wasn't for y'all. It was for me. It was for me to remind myself to stop apologizing. It was for me to remind myself to stop dimming my light. It was me to start reminding myself every single day to ask for forgiveness and not permission. And we need that, especially for all of us that identify as women. We need that because we're told by society every single day to dim, right? To sit down, to be quiet, right? To tone down your outfit. It's getting worse, y'all. It's getting worse. And it's like, Rihanna is my new inspiration, like just in general, right? But I've gone through this renaissance, and for those that don't know, I left the academy in July, and I had already launched my LLC, and it is Elise Volat Propriis, and that means she who flies with her own wings. Okay? And that's why we're here today, Cheryl. Thank you. I'll pay you for that later, Cheryl. Thank you. I'll pay you in Jen's wine. That's what I'll pay you in because it's going to be amazing. And thank you to Jen and Cheryl. I know you guys were a big reason why I'm here, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Jen is my birth twin date, 12/18 Sagittarians. Okay, all right, and I'm back. Okay. So we're going to come back. As you can see, I feel like you guys are my sisters. I feel like we're at home. So we're going to have a conversation, right? But this is also going to be for you all to think a little bit out of your box, right? And I want us to think about failure differently. So Julie had asked me to go through a little bit of my journey. And so I hope to be able to give you a few nuggets as well that has helped me along the way. One of my most favorite phrases is relentlessly reinvent yourself. And if I am not the epitome of that, y'all. So when I was in high school and came here as an undergrad, I was pre-med. My degree was in physiological sciences. And my goal was to open nonprofit health centers across the country, right? Because so many, I wanted to go into emergency medicine. I wanted to do a joint MD, MBA. And me and my dearest friend in NAFWA, she was pre-med here as well. We were planning that all out, right? But I was also an activist here. I was protesting. I was Black hypertension. I was Black pre-health. I was African brothers and sisters. I was academic supports program. If it was Black, I was it, right? I was doing it all, right? But what I'll say is that experience, that education, I use every single one of those tools every single day in every one of the seats that I have held, right? That education that I learned on how to empower and inspire while executing and delivering results with impact is literally the blueprint for my career. Take out the company, take out the title, take out the role. That's always there, right? So, but, you know, that whole doctor thing, yeah, you got to get good grades. And Christian, mommy didn't get good enough grades to get into medical school. You are getting great grades, though. You do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so I didn't get into medical school, y'all. And it took me a very long time to be able to admit that publicly. I was like, oh, you know, the bureaucracy of the healthcare system. You know, I just decided to go another way. That's what I said for the longest time. I did because I was so scared to say that I failed. Right, that I didn't get in, that I wasn't good enough, that I failed, that I must be a failure, right? And even go years before that, in high school, I was a 3-letter athlete, and I had 2 knee surgeries by the time I got out of high school, so they stopped recruiting me for volleyball, and that's what was my dream to play, right? And so I failed at that. There was a horrible stint of modeling. There's a Bearwear catalog around here somewhere, y'all. If you see it, burn it, please. So bad. Bad hair, bad makeup, but nonetheless, I was in the Miss Rancho Cucamonga pageant, but that wasn't for me either, right? Because they wanted me to lose a ton of weight, right? At that time, Tyra was blowing up the runway, and she was 5'11" and 125. I'm 5'9" and 150 right now, y'all. And I like to eat, right? So I was like, okay, well, I guess I failed at modeling too. Right? So now I'm coming into UCLA, and I come out of UCLA and I failed. We have to redefine failure is the point, right? All it is how you're going to relentlessly reinvent yourself, because you cannot soar if you're scared to fail. I'm going to say that again. We can't even dare to soar if we're scared to fail, right? Because otherwise you're like, oh no, I can't take that leap. As scary as it might be, we have to embrace that fear, right? And this isn't anything new. This isn't anything you all haven't heard. I'm not going to get the Nobel Prize for this one. But it's something we have to hear. And you have to hear it from a lot of different places, from a lot of different people who have held a lot of different seats, okay? And so most of my career, for those that don't know, has been on either business side of sports, entertainment, finance, or academics. Not very diverse, right? Always the first. I used to be the youngest. Not so much anymore. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And we're going to talk about how we are truly going to start redefining power, and that's giving our power away, right? But first, we as women have to grab that power. We have to own our power, right? And then when we get in the seats, then we get to give it away. But so many of us are so scared to make that leap, so scared to stand in our essence, so scared to be bold, right? A lot of times because we don't have safe spaces to do it. So we have to acknowledge that too. Right? So either we have to create the safe spaces, and I talk to a lot of leaders in the C-suite all the time that says, it's now on you. You have to create the safe space for people to soar, because otherwise you're leaving innovation on that table, right? I don't want, when I was COO of the Academy or COO of the LA Sparks, I don't want someone who says, you know what, I know exactly where we're going, I know exactly how we're going to get there, and these are the steps we're going to take. I don't want that. I want that one person who's like, you know what, I don't even know, but we're going to figure it out. Because in figuring it out, that's where the essence is. That's where the innovation is. That's where your lived experience, which is different than your lived experience, which is different than your lived experience, comes in with all of these fantastic innovation solutions, right? That does nothing but add profitability and creativity to the bottom line of any organization. But if you are dimming your light, if you're hiding that identity, if you are not in that full strength of your space and your essence, that will never come out, right? So as a leader, and most of us probably lead at least one person, even if it's an intern, right? In every step of the way, we're leaders, And so how are you creating a safe space for those leaders behind you, right? And then how are we holding our senior leaders, our most senior leaders, accountable for those safe spaces for all of us to be in? It doesn't even feel safe to be us, period, sometimes walking in that door, right? So much less me take a chance. You want me to take a chance? I just got this job, right? Right? And they're first to splash your name in your face all over the place. Look who we hired. Look, right? The woman, right? And they get their stock goes up because of that, right? But yet that safe space isn't there. And so we're going to continue to work on that, right? But you have to be, what we have to do, right? So we're going to hold people accountable, but we're also going to do some self-accountability because I want you guys to feel safe, okay? So close your eyes for a minute. Everyone close your eyes. Christian, you can close your eyes too. You can stop recording too. You're so sweet. My biggest fan right now. Mostly because I have to make him do it. Close your eyes. Just breathe. I don't want you to think about your inbox. I want you to think about your kids at home on Zoom. Close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them. Close your eyes. Don't think about your inbox. Don't think about your families that you're supporting. Just think about you. Take a really deep breath. Exhale. Okay? Think about what your biggest dream is. Close your eyes. Selfishly, your wildest dream. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. There's no limits. You have a blank check. You have no restrictions. You have every asset that you need behind you. You have every piece of information you could ever need. You have any mentor or sponsor that you would ever need. What is your wildest dream? Now I want you to multiply that times 10. Some of us can't even think about what that is. Multiply it times 10. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Now everybody open your eyes. Right? Could you look at the smiles. People are like, what? What is that? Right? When you block out the noise and all of the responsibilities of life, right? And all of the why nots. I want you to think about the why not this way, not the why not that way. Okay? Write down that dream before you forget it. Write down every aspect of that dream. Not the first one, the 10x one. Write down your 10x dream. Then write down the name of the person who you're going to share your 10x dream with as your accountability partner. Okay? 10x dream, accountability partner. Now I want you to write down your biggest fear of pursuing that dream. What scares the poop out of you? See what I did there, my child's here? It's poop. I wouldn't curse. Maybe just a little bit, every now and then. What scares the living crap out of you? What's the worst case scenario? Right? With all the responsibilities that now you can think about those responsibilities too. What's the worst case scenario? Take the fear out of it. Write it down. Because a lot of times when those fears are just in our head and we're scared to even say them or write them down, they go down this horrible black rabbit hole where they just keep building up steam and then they add on and then they go this way and then they go that way and they cripple us. Take the power out of that fear. Okay? Now think about 2 things that would be really nice to have to be able to achieve this. Could be capital, could be a sponsor, could be a person, could be knowledge or expertise. Okay? This is how we break down a 10x dream. It's not that big of a deal. Once we know it's possible, we all have it in us. We are at the most powerful university in the country, I think, personally. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right? Just think about who's at your table. Just think about who's in this room. Think about who's on these walls. That's what your alumni association's for. right? To be a catalyst to make that 10x dream come true. But you have to dare to soar. And we take ourselves out of the game 9 times out of 10 because of that fear, right? So I'm here to tell you guys, it's like Dorothy, right? You had the power all along because they want you to, you really did. Just click your heels 3 times, right? Might not be red. They might be black suede booties, but click them. Click them. Or some Nike Airs, whatever we want to rock. And that's the other part, whatever you want to rock. What makes you feel strong, right? Why I chose faux feather, I don't know, but it made me feel strong today. I don't know why, but it made me feel strong. So don't think about what you're supposed to look like or what he looks like when he did the job or even what she looks like when she did the job. What are you bringing to the table? And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be crazy faux feathers. You could be the black power suit every damn day. And if you want to do a black power suit every damn day, then that's you. But the key is we've been told so many times to morph into something else, right? I just recently, became more comfortable. I have the most wild, curly, delicious curls, right? And it took me a long time to wear them in corporate America. This is just easier. My curls are phenomenal. I rock them as much as I can, right? And so those are we're going to talk a little bit about the 4 eyes of oppression, right? And that's internalized oppression. So I want us all to kind of have a quick pause for a moment because we internalize a lot of the ideologies that have been being put in place, right? So if we talk about the 4 eyes of oppression, there's ideology, right? So there's the thought that straight hair is more professional or prettier, right? That lighter skin is more professional or prettier, right? All of these things, those are ideologies that for some people, that's all they know. For most of the beautiful faces in this room, we know otherwise, right? Now, when those ideologies then become law or aren't protected by law, that's where institutionalized oppression comes in, right? So I'm going to give you a real-time example. The Crown Act is working to make sure that we protect women or anyone who wants to wear natural hairstyles in the workplace, right? That wasn't in place. You could get fired for wearing natural hair in the workplace, right? And that's an example of how an ideology, either through a law that protects you or through a law that oppresses you, become institutionalized. But what I want to get to today is the internalized, because we as women, and especially those of us who identify as women of color, we internalize a lot of the ideologies that are sometimes institutionalized, and then people wonder why we're scared to dare to soar. Because we've internalized it, right? So I've internalized that curly hair. This one wants cornrows, right? And I'm like, it took me a minute. I was like, ooh, you want to wear cornrows to the private school in the valley? Okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we want to do. Okay. It took me, I'm going to be real with y'all. It took me a minute. It took me a minute because my internalized oppression of what cornrows on a young black man look like. But they're beautiful. And you'll be beautiful. Right? They're beautiful. It's an expression. It's just an expression. It means nothing else, but he gets to express himself, right? And this is what we have to realize is I want you guys to take, because we'll look at ourselves like we're crazy. Like, am I crazy? No, you're not crazy, ladies. They've been trying to get you to internalize these things for quite some time. That's why you don't look like you. Nobody looks like us on the big screen, the little screen, any of the screens. Right? But now we're seeing a renaissance. We're seeing a revolution on what any and everything looks like, what any and every boardroom looks like, what any and every C-suite looks like, what any and every advertisement looks like. We're seeing a revolution. From body image to gender fluidity and everything in between. Because we will not stand for anything less anymore, and you have the power to do it. Especially here in California, we have the power to do it. We are protected. So if you are in your workplace and you are not able to stand up for anything that really represents you, you have the power. Now it's scary. I know it's scary, but think about each and every moment in time when you can do that, because what that does is that allows you to get your legs under you so we can take off and dare to soar. But we have to believe it first, right? We have to turn off all of those doubts, right? Okay, but I didn't study for that. Y'all, I don't have a business degree. Self-taught, right here, right? Student Activity Center, formerly Men's Gym, was my MBA, okay? That was my MBA. And I'm not saying that for those that do have degrees and that support, it's fantastic too, but think about whatever it is that causes you to doubt you, because you got to get that out of your mind. You got enough haters out there. And as you grow and as you succeed and as you get more bold with your looks, feathers, you'll get even more. And that's okay. That means you're doing something right? And it's scary, but you'll have your circle. Okay, so we have our 10x stream, right? We thought about what scares the shit out of us. Yeah, I said it. I love you, right? We wrote down our accountability partner, okay, right? Now what we have to do is, okay, now we're there, right? We've gotten at least to our 3x stream. We've checked off a couple boxes, right? We're doing our thing. After that, I want us to rethink what it means about power. I touched on this early on, right? So the beauty of, I think, who we are as women is we understand how we can be powerful and empower at the same damn time. It doesn't take away from our power to give you power, because I know I'm gonna get some more, right? Power is one of those, it just keeps regenerating. So the more I transfer it, the more powerful it gets. Look at my South Campus degree. I learned something 800 years ago, right? But the more we give away our power, the more we transfer power, the more powerful that gets, right? And now we're starting to see the true wealthy, when they die, either leave it to their dog or all of charity and none of their kids, right? We see that, and that's great, and that's beauty. I mean, look, if you're giving, right? But as we go through this together, right, I am constantly looking for who's next. I don't want to stay in this spot too long. One, because I need to soar even more. And two, now they need to come behind me, right? So that's part of our responsibility too. And it's hard. I'm giving you a very tall task, especially for those of us that are in our 40s and 50s. And I'm just using time. The experiences are different, but I'm using time and generations on purpose. I just turned 48. And I truly believe that we're this interesting generation of those that understand the boomers and that came before us, that are still in place and still in office and still hold those seats, right? And we actually truly see, understand, and are sometimes relevant to, sometimes relevant still, as I learn what a tick and a talk is, right? But to the generations coming after us, we are still having to uphold some of these expectations and ideologies while unlearn them for our damn selves and answer and solution and inspire this next generation. Do you know how hard that is? And for those of us that choose to do it in heels, do you know how hard that is? Right? It's such a tall task. So I want to acknowledge that for each and every one of you, because I'm sure each and every one of us have been in that, like, dang, I wasn't taught right. So I have to relearn for myself, all the while having the answers for this generation, while teaching this generation how to understand that generation and how we're doing things differently. That's a tall order. So I want to, because this is the place where we can look around and be like, nah, you're not crazy, Tiffany. You're not crazy. You're not crazy, right? You're not, because people will make you think you're crazy. Okay, so we as women often serve that role, and those that are in this generation as well often serve that role. So make sure that you're validating these feelings, because you will go crazy, right? When you're pouring out, when you're serving, if you don't acknowledge it, you literally spend this nervous, negative energy wondering, what is going on? We're being gaslit left and right. And that's okay, because as long as we acknowledge, it's not okay. As long as we acknowledge it, though, we'll be able to deal with it. That's what I mean by it's okay. We'll be able to deal with it. We'll be able to process it, identify it for what it is, and then choose. And sometimes that means walking away. Sometimes it means a renaissance, Beyonce, right? Sometimes it means a metamorphosis, a peeling of skin and a rebirth that is so painful but so beautiful on the other side. Sometimes we have to choose. And that choice actually is fighting a battle for the woman coming next to you, or the person coming next to you, or after you, or beside you, or who's still there. Being that intentional, saying, you know what? I'm good. And walking away is an act of resistance as well. So you just have to identify that for yourself. Be kind, be gracious to yourself, give yourselves grace. My house is a wreck. It's kind of messy, right? Mom needs to put her clothes away because it's been a lot of events, and while I'm not with the Academy, there's been a lot of amazing, beautifully, intentionally curated rooms and events this week. And so Mom's clothes are all over the damn place, y'all. I am. It's hilarious. But we're here in this beautiful time and space. I'm here with my amazing son, right? I'm winning. I don't care if my house is a mess, right? So be gracious to yourselves. You guys deserve it. We deserve it, all right? So we're going to dare to soar. We're going to live that 10X dream. Go for it. Jump. I did, right? I'm no longer in corporate America. I've been in corporate America my entire career. And at 48, I've now decided to go off on my own. And it has been amazing. Thank you. It has been an adventure. It has been intentional. Every single room and they're like, oh, by the way, I want you to sit next to such and such. And I was like, you don't even understand. The person who sat me there didn't even understand how important that meeting was for both of us. They didn't even know what I was going to talk about. That's happened at least 5 times this week. So when you start being so intentional about your purpose, and I know it sounds cliche, and I know we're like all going through to therapy now, I hope. Okay. And we're all doing our affirmations, right? And I know that, but I can't tell you, have to clear the negative thoughts out. They don't help you. Guilt doesn't help you. Process it. What are you guilty for? What do you feel guilty for? Process it and then move it away. You're blocking your blessings. Okay? So we're going to dare to soar. We're going to redefine failure. Right? That's the R&D. We're going to call failure R&D. Research and development. That's all a failure is. It's research and development, right? When you talk to your boss and they're like, hey, you didn't meet that objective. Oh, it was just research and development. I'm kind of serious, but redefine failure. Redefine failure as research and development. That's all it is, okay? Yeah, or don't even, yes, exactly. Yes, Cheryl, thank you. So, we have so much ahead of us. We have so much opportunity. There is so many ways to show up unapologetically, right? Unapologetically crazy, unapologetically Black, unapologetically powerful, unapologetically a servant leader, right? So for me, unapologetically has now evolved into however it is that you feel you're most powerful. And for me, a lot of times, just being silly, unapologetically silly, right? You can't take yourself too seriously. So however you want to show up unapologetically, start working towards it. It doesn't happen overnight, you guys. I'm still a work in progress. I still get nervous all the time before any post. I'm like, okay, go. And then I put my phone down, right? But it's okay. Go for it. All right. So we're going to promise ourselves, and we're going to tell our accountability partners that we're going to start showing up unapologetically doing X. And that may change tomorrow, right? Each chapter of your life, you should figure out what those goals are, right? So for me, my first chapter was finding my new passion outside of medicine and how I wanted to save the world otherwise, because you can't leave UCLA as the optimists that we are without a desired goal of saving the world. That's what we all have in common. We do it in a lot of beautifully different ways, but ultimately that is what bounds us together as Bruins, right? Our hopeless optimism and our advocacy and our impact. So that was always a through line through everything I did. So I did that through supplier diversity first, right? Corporate America, supplier diversity, helping minority and women and LGBTQ and disabled owned businesses and veteran owned businesses to get more contracted dollars with corporate America. I did that with Disney. I did that with NBC Universal. And then I went on the other side, the tall guy, short shorts, Magic Johnson. He's like, hey, yo, come work for me. So I did so on a couple different occasions, and that's where I started transforming into operations. And so in that chapter of my life of supplier diversity was like, okay, the foundation of how I want to create impact through business and economic empowerment, which then was one chapter of my life, right? Then the next one became, okay, well, how do I do so in an operationally based situation? And a lot of things I talk about now is how we operationalize the good. So in each and every task that you do or role that you have, how can you operationalize the good? So what do I mean by that? When you have an outcome to have a diverse pool of whatever, right? Whatever it is you may be working on, speakers or whatever it is. Let's start here. Well, why do we not have them? Well, the committee isn't diverse. Okay, great. Well, then the committee wasn't diverse. Okay, then, well, who is on the committee and how do you get to the committee and how do you make that process, more equitable and more diverse? So it's kind of like a toddler for those parents in the room. Why? Well, why? Well, why, right? Until there's no why left, right? So operationalize the good. So that way, when all of us are zooming in from like Fiji because we're on vacation because we're calling in what my friend said, I'm going to call in rich. I was like, I want to call in rich. Like, how do I get to call in rich? That's on my 10X stream for sure, right? Oh, there we go. A digital nomad, right? So being a digital nomad, yes, but I just want to be able to not even call in, really, is what I'm trying to do. But the point is that we will have changed the systems and operationalized the good so it doesn't matter what human is in that seat or a chatbot at this point, but whatever, right? So we want to operationally. So I started getting into operations. And so I was in these roles like a COO where we didn't necessarily need a chief diversity officer because I wanted to operationalize equity within it and hold my business managers accountable for what was important. And so that way it was just part of our DNA, right? So that was that chapter. So each one of your chapters should have a 10X stream. Each one of your chapters is going to have some fears and some what is the worst case scenarios, right? Each one of your chapters can have an accountability partner that may or may not be the same, right? So now in this chapter, in this renaissance, in this transformation for me, it's my safe zone. It's my soft girl season, as they say, right? I need safety around me. I want no negativity. If you have any negativity of the recession or of yeah, we're all worried about it. Not today. Not today. Not around me, right? Because I need nothing but positivity and why nots, the good ones. So who you surround yourself with also is going to be critical in each chapter. So my task for each of you is do this for each chapter. But now I want you to make your 3-year plan for each of your chapters as well. So tell me what that 10X stream, and you may reverse engineer it. Who are my super nerdy engineers in the room? Right? We may go 10X, bring it back, whatever it is, start. And then it's going to change. It's dynamic. It moves every single time, right? But with each chapter, go through this process. And I bet you we'll be having much better outcomes with you guys at the lead. So thank you all, ladies, so much. We're going to open it up for questions. Yes? Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And yes, we have some time for questions. So please raise your hand. I will run over with a microphone so that everyone on Zoom can hear your question. And if you are on Zoom, please use the Q&A function so that you can submit some questions. So would anyone like to kick us off with a question for Christine Simmons? Up front, absolutely. You want to maybe say your name, Grady, or something like that?
Hi, I'm Isadora. And I love, like all of us here, we love what you said. For me, I want to understand where you find the strength to be in your power and to know that you're soaring without the fear of the people that are judging you, the people that don't look like you because you're the first one there?
Yeah, great question, Isadora. It's not easy all the time, right? And so when on those, there's some days like I'm like, okay, I put on the playlist, I feel like I look cute, like I got all my stuff right. And there's some days like I got this, right? Then there's some days where their no or their judgment and all the things that you talked about, I flip it. I was like, all right, I'm a little competitive, just a little bit. Really? He was like, a little, Mom? Yeah. It's true. So I take that. I'm like, all right, tell me no. I'm gonna show you, let me show you. And sometimes I'm like, I just walk away too. Like sometimes you don't even have to like play that game with them. And then when those times when I'm really not feeling it, I'm really not feeling strong, I think about him, but I also think about all the other people that are depending on me, quote unquote. And that's just how I look at it. And I don't want that weight to be on everybody, but at the same time, like I look at it as a source of inspiration. Like there's never a room where I should be the only one. So you have to do this. Like, and I'm not a good networker. I don't really, like once I get in the room and I feel people, but like if I could sit on a wall and talk to my friend and not have to go introduce myself, like, hi, I'm Kristen. Like I literally have to like get mentally prepared for that too, right? So it's not something that always comes natural. Strength doesn't always come natural. So you kind of look to the other people. And they also give me strength because when you think about it, especially as women, we're often, and those that identify as women, we're nurturers, right? We care for others a lot easier than it is to care for ourselves. And so sometimes I use that as my motivation too, that like, okay, it's not about you, it's about them. So get up and stop being, whatever it is, acknowledging that it's valid and true. But that helps me. And then if it takes that much, and this is new for me, if I feel like I need that much strength to fight this fight, I really weigh it and redefine what success is for myself and what happiness is for myself, because there are some fights that aren't worth it anymore. I didn't say that. However, right
Perfect.
here,
Any other questions in the room?
Thank you, Isadora. That was a really good question. And it's scary to ask those questions. We're all scared.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Christine. I'm already feeling inspired.
Love you.
So I have a question, because we always talk about our power, and I wanted to know if there's any vision for how we as women from UCLA join together as a community and really support each other. How can I empower you if I don't know you? Mm-hmm. And so really pushing us to be connected through UCLA One or Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah.
Because we facilitate the changes at a community level.
Yeah.
So is there a plan for that?
Great question. Question.
My tip is we have shared academic DNA.
Yes.
So you are my sister.
Yes.
And when you call me, if I don't answer the phone, hi, how are you? What can I do for you today? Instead of what do you want?
Yeah. Yes.
How do we get to that?
Yeah. No, that's such a great point. I think there's a couple things. So I'm going to take it back. What I was president 2018. 16, something. Anyway, whenever I was president of the UCLA Alumni Association, that we totally reorganized and reimagined the structure of the Alumni Association. It used to be, this is the building, build it and they will come, and boards and committees. And that's how you got involved. That's how you sat at tables where, you could really, and that's what I always thought was missing. And we'll talk about that, is kind of that mover and shaker energy, right? So like, we're all out of school, thank you, Career Center. We found our first job. Now what, right? Like, how are we all going to be powerful together, to your point? And so we, really restructured the organization so that our chapters were far more empowered globally. How many now? 140? 140 global UCLA chapters that come in all different shapes and forms to meet you where you are and how you want to be engaged. So whether it's geographically, whether it's through the Black or Latino Alumni Associations, whether it's through South Bay Bruins, whether it's professional Bruins or varsity, whether it's sports, business, whatever your entree is, we have a door here at the Alumni Association for you to enter, whether it's women, right? So we've done a lot more programming around women these days. So we're able to come together and connect. So the key is, let me tell you, Julie and her team want you there. They want you in every room, in every discussion, on every committee. Let me tell you, don't even start saying you want to be on a committee. You're going to be on all the committees. You'll be on all the boards. You'll turn around and your child's 10 and you're still on a board, okay? They'll get you involved. So, but we do have to be intentional. We have to show up, right? We also have to make sure that, to your point, anytime I saw UCLA on a resume, I took an interview no matter what. Even if their resume it would be like, hey, boo, hey, let's talk about your resume. This is why we're not going to work together, but I'm going to help you, and I'm going to mentor you, and I'm going to sponsor you, and I'm going to do all these things to make you better. Not here working for me right now, but maybe later, right? So that's one way that I just do it every day. Anytime Julie picks up the phone and she's like, I need you somewhere, I'm there, it doesn't matter. So and all of this could be yours. Any one of you could be president of the Alumni Association, I promise, right? So start getting involved. I started through the Black Alumni Association myself personally. I was a volunteer and then an officer and then a board member. That's where I started. And then slowly and surely I got to, follow some amazing footsteps of other Black Bruins that have been president of the Alumni Association. So it's one, they have restructured, use UCLA One, use the technology that's there. They're constantly looking for folks. And then what we did is we created the career cabinet. Thank you, Ann Wang, who is our current president of the Alumni Association, the youngest, first Asian woman to be president of our Alumni Association. She is a badass. I love her with all my heart. So while she was on the board when I was president, she helped spearhead our career cabinets, which is kind of like mentorship on steroids of the movers and shakers in the entertainment industry. And we wanted to look at each of those verticals, and that's continuing to grow. So that was pretty good. I've been away for a minute. So please get involved. Please sign up on UCLA One. Please let Julie know what your passions and your interests are. And she'll say, oh, great, we have a volunteer opportunity here, 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 and here. And when you sit around these tables, that's where the moving and shaking happens. One time I looked up and I was like, you mean Meyer Luskin? Like we're sitting in your building? Like I totally fangirled out over Meyer Luskin. I was like, why am I at this table? So that would be my recommendation, but we just always look out for Bruins no matter what.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll do one more in person, and then I have an online one. So go ahead.
Cute boots and skirt.
Thank you. So at our table, we got into this really interesting discussion about imposter syndrome. And it's hard enough for everybody, especially for women. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that and any suggestions.
Great question. We all get it. We've all been, I feel like those Geico commercials, we all see it. We all see it. We've all been there. Even sitting next to Meyer Luskin, right? I'm on the same board as him. Now, granted, he has a few more dollars than I, but my voice mattered the same, right? So I think that's where we start. Every time you hear that negative voice, I shouldn't be here. They're going to find out I'm a fraud. I've had that thought a couple times, right? But you're not a fraud. You have to find the tools and turn it off immediately. Just turn it off. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but go to a positive thing about yourself immediately, right? So the second you're like, I shouldn't be here. No, wait, that's right. I did X. Think about an accomplishment that puts you in that room. Points on the board. We have points on the board and we still doubt ourselves, y'all. I have a championship ring. I still doubt myself, right? And that's because you have a lot of the other voices at society and just that aren't even saying anything, but just imagery, right? We're just now getting movies where you see women in power positions just for no damn reason, right? Like just rich for no damn reason. Nobody's husband or wife, but for no damn reason. So I think that for me, what I do is the second I hear it, I'm like, no, you belong here because of X, right? You deserve this because of why, right? And the second you just kind of turn it off and focus your energy, you're focused your energy on positivity and openness and not no's and negative. That's what I utilize. Everybody can tweak it to work for them. It's not that easy sometimes. I literally put on my bad B playlist. I do. I have a playlist for when I need to get hype, and I'm going into like, I'm like, all right, let's go. There's a lot of really ratchet music on that playlist. I know. But whatever your tools are, right? And then there's always the group chat. Go to the girlfriend group chat, and they will hype. If they don't hype you up, if you don't say, hey guys, I'm feeling a little nervous, girl, you got that. Like, let me tell you, my group chats are the best ever. And I might be 48, but I still need my girlfriends, right? So group chat, and just the more you do it, the easier it is. The last thing I'll say on that point too is that, just a small shift in a word, like, okay, it's not no, it's yes, it's not good, it's not bad, it's good, right? But like, we get to do these things every single day. And so sometimes, because we're so crazy and selfless, I get to be in this room, right? So we have the privilege to be able to create opportunity for everybody else coming behind us too. And so sometimes, again, when we're not feeling not strong, doubting ourselves, if we think about all of these beautiful faces that are looking to see what you're going to do in that room, then a lot of times that helps you with that imposter syndrome. You were there for a reason. Thank you. Great question.
Perfect. I'm over here now. I'm jumping around. So we're going to do our last question. This is from Zoom, from DJ. And that is, what was the moment you knew it was time to transition? Did you make a plan? Did you jump? How did you decide it was time?
Great. Thanks, DJ, for that question. It was different every single time. But most of the time it was... I really knew that, okay, I had done my kind of checklist of the things that I'd wanted to accomplish in that chapter of my life. I looked back, I was like, yep, okay, I did that, right? And then what was in front of me was more exciting than what was here. And then also, like, the Sparks is a perfect example because, my strengths are rebuilding brands, are creating market share, right? Creating operations, really reestablishing and making new and exciting. And that's what we did, because the guys that own, because they're all guys, but that's okay. We'll keep working on that. Actually, Billie Jean King is now an owner too of the Dodgers, but nonetheless, that group, that same group that owns the Dodgers bought the Sparks, right? And so total new ownership. So we had to rebrand. We had to make it younger and more fun and more exciting, all that kind of stuff. And so we did all that, got the owners comfortable, got the operations all settled. Our first season, we were operating out of Magic Johnson's conference room, y'all. It was crazy. It was like bubble gum and Scotch tape, but we did it. And then after 5 seasons, I was like, okay, I have this phenomenal person whom I had been sponsoring for many, many years, and Danita Johnson. And she came in and I was like, she knows what she believes. She loves it like I do. And I knew that her young, fresh energy, where social media was going, the way she wanted to, the younger the players were getting to, like, she could do some super exciting things. And I had a bigger challenge ahead. So I tapped her, and then she came in. And by the way, she's now the first Black woman to run a Major League Soccer team in DC United. That's my bestie. She's pretty awesome. So then I moved out of the way, she came in, then she moved out of the way, someone else came in, right? And then we both went on to do bigger things. So I love a challenge. I love a business challenge, and that's what the Academy posed when I first got there, was how do we reinvent a business that is based on a linear TV network, live event awards show in cinema that's very artsy. Talk about business challenges, right? So, and it's an almost 100-year organization, 95 years. So for me, it was the business challenge of that and how exciting that would be. So that's when I kind of knew, and let's be real, we don't talk about it enough. I wanted to make more money. I want to build generational wealth. And that's okay. We don't say that. We're servants. We're servant leaders. We're public servant leaders at UCLA, and we don't talk about building wealth in our communities, and as women brag about it. We want to build wealth. We want to bring that wealth and create new power dynamics. new investment structures where we can create and invest in businesses that we believe in, that have the value structure that we as women often bring to the table. So we want to get wealthy, and we're going to do it unapologetically.
Perfect. Thank you, Christine, and thank you for your time today, dragging your son out to join us.
Thank you. Thank you.